I reach out to other people that I know that are suffering. I have things set up in a way where it makes it a little bit easier to succeed in staying sober, in
Mhm.
staying in service, in staying in gratitude. If I start to slip away from doing those things, I get wonky. I
Right.
absolutely get wonky and I feel it and I know. And then I will have to take kind of like, okay, what do I do right now? Because I'm really feeling wonky. Luckily, right now in my life, I don't get that often as much, and I think it's because of the work that I do.
Because you're in service of others and there's a whole new
Absolutely.
level of accountability. Like I'm thinking I know a friend who she really needs and she knows that she needs to get sober, but she continues to try it on her own.
I
And
did that for years.
it's such a different
Yeah.
picture when you go, no, I'm going to show up vulnerably. I'm going to raise my hand and allow myself to be seen and acknowledge that I need some help, even if the help feels imperfect, because all the help, we all struggle with our own crap as well, and we're not perfect, and AA is not perfect, and whatever route you take isn't perfect. But it sounds like you set up the routines and you set up the infrastructure of people to be there to help you so that it wasn't you doing it all by yourself.
Yeah.
And now you
Well,
support
that's the
others.
opposite, by the way, that's the opposite of addiction, right? Here's addiction. It's a very isolating disease. It's a mental illness disease. And
Mhm.
then the opposite of it is connection. So
Mm,
it's really interesting when you can look at it that way, because really to be sober is to be connected. It's to be
mm,
connected to you, to other people, and to have that foundation. Not just with, I don't have to just be with sober people. I mean, I find it interesting now to just be available to not anyone, but to people that maybe want to have coffee. And, there's something about connecting on that very universal level. When you connect, it kind of pulls you even further away from this mental disease, because
mm.
that's what the addiction does. It really does want to get you alone. It wants to get you alone and tell you you're okay. Imagine having something in your mind constantly wanting to get you alone in private and isolate you from the world and say, you're okay. You got this. You can drink.
It seems like the visual that I see is a buffer. It's like the
Yeah.
walls just get bigger and bigger
Yeah.
as a self-preservation. I'm not going to connect. I'm just going to put up more walls so I
Yeah.
actually don't have to feel. And so now you've taken all of your background, which sounds like it's super broad and varied, and now you're supporting others. So are you supporting people specifically in the entertainment industry along their journey of sobriety, or how do
I
those
have
work?
I have a couple women that are in the entertainment industry that are my clients. I would say that what happened for me is in 2020, I decided to go to this place in Tennessee and do some trauma work. I wanted to keep expanding on my sobriety. And so I went and did this trauma work. It was a week of really intense trauma work. And while I was there, you can kind of choose what you want to work on. So I worked on some childhood abuse, and then I worked on my divorce because I never really healed from my divorce in 2004. And so when I was leaving, I said to my counselor, who I absolutely loved, and I said, now what? I just did this whole week of trauma work. What do you suggest now? What should I do now to keep expanding on this? And he had a couple suggestions, but nothing really like, and I'm one of those people that I like directions and I want to keep expanding on things and keep learning and growing. And that I got home, that was in October. In November, I woke up in the middle of the night. It was 2 a.m. I have two whiteboards in my office, and I literally wrote out my 90-day program. I'm like, this is the program. This is the 90-day program. This is like when people leave there, they should come and do my program with me. And so I
Mm,
like wrote out this 90-day program, but then I went through it myself. And it was I was like, well, this is really hard for me. This is going to be hard for people. But what I found is I got to a whole other level because I removed everything that could prevent me from getting really healed, like really healing. Because I thought I just did all this trauma work. So things are going to come up now. How am I going to continue to heal? And that was my biggest goal.